What's up? Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trading Live with Bubba. Happy New Year. Well, I mean, there's not a lot going on. Markets continue to charge ahead. The NASDAQ still the only market not to make a new high. From a day trading standpoint, there's been a couple of good trades earlier. Right now, there's not much to look at, but we'll continue to focus and be ready should something show up. We are higher, but they are selling off a little bit here. In fact, the Russell is now lower on the day. But again, we're not really getting much to do. I think that's just important to understand that, you have to, if you're going to day trade, you want to wait for the best potential setups. I think that's always the case. As we look at this situation here, we've done very well. But we've done well because we're patient enough to wait for it. And, when you try to force the trade or force the market, you're actually just fooling yourself and taking, gambles where you shouldn't be gambling. Okay. This is a probability model is what you're trying to trade. Okay. You're not trying to do anything extra than just probability. And, that's what we have to always focus on, is putting ourselves in the best spot of probability. And right now, there's not much for us to do. We don't have any big edge right now. So we'll take a look at the rest of the board and see if there's anything else for us to do while we're hanging out here. Apple, Alpha Papa Lima. Breaking down, I mean, you could certainly look at selling some put spreads in Apple if you chose to. I would do these for Friday. You do have a jobs number Friday, so that's always something to look at. But Apple, I would look at, hold on. Apple for Friday, the 260, 250, 260. And we can do that for $1. I would go ahead and do that. Apple and Amazon, a little bit of a rally today. Probably want to sell some call spreads here on Amazon. Again, we're only playing the markets that are overextended in one direction or the other. And that's, again, so we don't need the market to go down from here. We just need it to stop going up. And I think that's something important to understand. And I think that's just important, for you to be aware of. Okay, is just play the probability. But in Amazon, the 240, 250 for about 90 cents. I could do that. Okay, just putting down to make sure that we track them. Coin, a little bit of a sell-off, but still really just range bound. Not much to do in here. Crowd, certainly would possibly look at selling some put spreads here, but we don't want to overdo it either. Ether, nothing to do yet here. Meta, not much to do here either. Again, we're not going to force trades just to get them on. It doesn't make sense. You want to get on trades that you think have a fair chance of being profitable. And that is always, what our job is to find profitability and put ourselves in the best position. So, and right now we don't have anything to do here. So let's go back and see. Google, it was a pretty good trade for us a couple weeks ago. Nothing to do right now. INOQ, nothing for us to do right now. IWM, nothing for us to do right now. MP, getting close to being a potential sell. I would wait a little bit there, but certainly one of potential. Microsoft looks pretty bad. You could certainly look at selling some put spreads here. Monster, MSTR, nothing for us to do. Netflix has earnings in a couple of weeks. Certainly it'd be call spread seller if you were going to do anything in here. I'm going to pass. NNE, nothing for us to do. Came off the bottom nicely, though. Again, you can see the patterns as they come off those areas that we're looking at right now. That's something to be aware of. We're looking for those opportunities. Nugget, a little bit more of a rally before we would sell it. NVIDIA, a little bit more of a rally before we can sell that. Again, it's, we got jobs this week. We got a lot of stuff going on. Palantir was a potential trade the other day. Again, if we don't make it, we don't talk about them. We just say what could have been, but we don't know for sure because we didn't make the trade. We are starting to get a little bit of selling pressure though in the market. Let's see what's going on here. If there's anything for us to do, and not really, no. So let's just, again, we'll continue to watch and see if there's anything worth doing for us. And let's go back here. QBTS. You could sell some call spreads here if you chose. Again, I'm not doing anything too aggressive here. I'm kind of, hanging out on the sidelines a little bit here as we await, the action in the market. I don't see anything really that I want to get overly involved with. So I think it's just easier sometimes to be patient. You got nothing to do in the Qs. SMCI, there's nothing to do. SPY, there's really nothing to do. XYZ, certainly could sell some call spreads here. Tesla, looking to sell some put spreads here potentially. Win, sell some put spreads here. So really not a lot going on though. Again, I'm not looking to be overly aggressive here, with the lack of overall volume in the market. Again, with lots of news coming out, some whole bunch of stuff. And, unless it's what I would consider a layup, and again, just because it's a layup doesn't mean it's going to win. But I think that the patience that you have to exert in markets is important, because at the end of the day, you're only chasing your tail if you do things other than that. Okay, you're getting some pretty hard selling right now. In fact, the markets could turn negative here very shortly. We are certainly getting the potential, but the volume is so light. Do you really want to jump in here and get involved? That's something that you have to, again, remember about the business is, if there's not enough action, you're taking a lot of risk for nothing. And I think that you just have to be patient enough to wait here. Certainly you could look at, buying the NASDAQ here. Certainly a realistic play, but I'm going to be much more cautious as we still have this very, very light volume. But, again, we looked at, for those who just tuned in, we did sell some put spreads in Apple, sold some call spreads in Amazon to start the day for this Friday's expiration. But all we're doing is just looking for, again, high probability, overbought, oversold. We're going to sell into a rally. We're going to buy into a dip, but only when they get 3 standard deviations out from the mean, because you got about a 90% chance that trade will come back and cash for you. They won't always be winners, but this morning we had a big morning in my morning live group. But certainly, now we did have an opportunity. We didn't buy it, but it would have worked out in the NASDAQ. Again, I'm not overly excited here to get aggressive. And if you have any questions, feel free to fire them in. I'm always here to answer questions as well. Again, I want to help you if I can, make you a better trader. But I will always err, especially in public, to the conservative side. I don't think there's a need to get crazy. I think there's going to be always opportunity, and the markets are open 241 days a year. So, no reason to be overly aggressive here. Again, did we miss a winning trade? Yeah, we did. So what? There'll be another trade. And that's one of the things you got to remember. There's always another trade coming. Okay. When you look at the general function of the markets, almost every market is consolidated. the dollar, the notes, the bonds. I mean, everything's in consolidation. So do you really want to get involved in knowing that you should get some pretty solid movement in the notes and bonds, for example, off of the jobs number? And tomorrow you get the ADP jobs. So Bitcoin did break out of our 92,000 level. So be looking for a spot for a pullback to potentially buy that. Copper continues to run like crazy. This is a short squeeze. This would be certainly a sale if you trade copper. You want to pick a level and sell, but certainly would be a great opportunity probably. Grain markets are rallying a little bit, but they're really indicating more of a stagflationary period, which is not a good sign. Natural gas, I would look for about 320 to be a buyer. Crude, I'm looking for 55. So I'd have to find a reason to sell at some point. But I think that's what you have to look for. Okay, is again, you just have to be patient enough to wait. This is a very frustrating business. Waiting. But the more patient you can be, the better off you're going to be. The more opportunity you're going to have to make money. And that's something that is important from a trading standpoint, okay, is putting yourself in the best position, okay? Is crude going to be something here potentially to buy? Possibly. But the lack of speed in the market, the lack of real push one way or the other, we have no opinion. We're just looking to trade the probability. The lack of any real volume, lack of any real push makes it a much more challenging market to trade because you're not getting the emotion of others. And that's really what this blow-off pattern is about, is trading off the emotions of others. Okay. So it's something that we have to be, aware of. And, crude, is it? Nah, not really. Again, could I make a case for it? Yeah, of course I could, but I'm not interested in making a case. Okay. Again, we're not getting the wider swings, which is more traditional with the blow-off pattern. And that's what we have to be aware of is, where can we get the biggest edge? So, but right now it's very quiet, but we'll stick around and watch for a little bit. I'll show you some of the things we're working on. This is a trade assist software. This indicates like the pink is a sell spot, which it would have worked out okay. And these we'll start using as soon as I refine them. But you can see that there was some opportunity, and these are all based on math. Okay, there's nothing to do with just strictly 3 or 4 standard deviations from the mean, and that's what we're looking to do. I think that's important. When you look at it, put yourself in the best position. Again, that's just trading is a math model when you're short-term trading. Okay, all it's got to do is the reaction of others, but I don't see much to do right in here. If you see something, let me know. I don't see much. And again, if you have any questions, you can always feel free to ask them. But right now, I think we call it no bueno. Not much to do. Certainly, as I said, we missed a potential trade in the NASDAQ right there, but it's all right. Not worried about it. There'll be another trade. So, but just to recap, we did do Amazon, we did Apple, sold put spreads in Apple, call spreads in Amazon. There was a number of others that were potentials. Crowd selling put spreads. I did not do it. INOQ did not do anything. QBTS call spreads potentially. Again, I didn't do any. I only did the 2, Apple and Amazon. Okay, again, I'm not looking to get too overly aggressive here. I think there's a lot of news coming out, and the markets are still very thin. So it doesn't tell me that I want to get too excited here. So I think, again, there's nothing to do. We're not going to waste time. I will see you guys actually next Tuesday. Remember, I do the market 120 every day. Give you an idea what I'm thinking in the morning, and have a great day, everybody. We'll see you later.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.